Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I got a great video for you guys today. I didn't think that I can't wait to share this with you guys. It's a true story. When this happened to me yesterday, I thought it was a joke. I thought I was being trolled or somebody was trying to trigger me. But it's a true story. It actually happened. I'll get to that in a second. All right. Now I want to tell you guys too. I got a video coming up. I went and paid my AT&T bill the other day, and if you guys saw the video I did about AT&T, how they, after 8 months of living here, they sent me a letter saying that the post office told them that I moved back to my old address after 8 months here, and they started sending my bill back to where I used to live. Okay, I called them up twice. I asked them to repeat all the information back to me two different times. After 3 months, they're still sending the bill back to my old address. I had some theories on this if you go back and watch the video. So when I was in the store, I asked the store employee, what's the reason for this? And he says it takes 3 months sometimes for the bill to take effect for your new address. Why it didn't take 3 months like when the other times I moved, I don't know. Why the kiosk is taking my zip code for here but sending my bill there, he didn't have an answer to that either. But he slipped. I mentioned it, after we were talking and he felt comfortable. I asked him about a $5 extra charge. If any of you are getting a $5, I think he said $9, $12, or $16 extra charge on your phone bill. Maybe that's for extra phones. He told me why, and I'm going to do a video on that. He let it slip. As he was telling me this, other people in the store heard it because they had this extra fee added onto their AT&T bills, and they started gathering around me and surrounding this AT&T employee. And I got to tell you his reason for why you're getting charged this extra amount on your AT&T bill. Okay, now before I get into the story too, there's one other thing that happened to me yesterday. I pulled into the shopping center where I did a video before about high prices the store shelves being empty, and I pulled into that store. And the parking lot was very full. I was in my little Honda Fit. And there was one space about halfway up the aisle. So I pull in, and just like I had to stop. Because the space directly in front of me, there's a monster F-1000, huge, white, jacked up monster truck. Right? And he's probably almost, I'd say, a good 8 feet into the space I was going to pull into. He was taking up 2 spaces. And I look at this truck, big, huge, white truck, and then I see the American flag up in the back, behind on the bumper in the bed, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna trust my little Honda Fit. My Fit comes about, my windshield came up to like his front bumper, so I went and parked somewhere else, and I'm walking in, and this guy has this huge pole on his back hitch with springs attached and everything. And this American flag has got to be about 10 feet by 7 feet or something like that. It's huge, a huge flag. And I'm walking in, and as I'm walking in, there's this tall, lanky, bearded guy walking out. He looks like Grizzly Adams on meth, or Ted Kaczynski kind of, army shirt. He's skinny, lanky, kind of bouncing like this, about 6'5", beard down to here, white beard. Scary looking dude, and it looks a little, and he's got all these clips on his belt, like attachments and stuff, or what they were for. I had no idea. I decided to look away at that moment. Crazy is a whole nother level I don't want to confront. And I had to watch. So I kind of hung around the front by the fruit, and sure enough, he went right to that truck. Just something I wanted to share with you guys. All right, let me get into this now. Okay, so there's a guy in this area that I live. And ever since I came to check out this apartment, I met him when I first came to check out this apartment. He's always outside, he's got a radio, and he's a great guy. He's a friendly guy. I wasn't sure of his intelligence level. I don't know how to put it at first. He seems very happy-go-lucky, which is great. But, carrying the radio and being outside, no work, just being out in this particular area, talking to people every day, I wasn't sure. And, he's just a Trump supporter. He's just a Newsmax watching right-wing Trump supporter. And I made the mistake when I first moved here of telling him about my YouTube channel. So every day I go outside now, and he sees me. He says, "Daryl, what was on your channel today? What'd you do? What was your story on?" So yesterday when I did the Brittany Griner story, I made the mistake of telling him that, it's about Brittany Griner, and mentioned the whole how the right wing is saying that she's playing the black lesbian millionaire card. And I'm calling Bob. This is what Bob said to me, right? And I thought he was trolling me or whatever you want to call it at first, but he was serious. He says that this is the reason that it's not a real woman. This is a man. Daryl, can't you tell that's not a woman? She was going there to infiltrate Russians' women's sports, just like they're doing here, just like that swimmer. He said, I think he was referring to Leah Thomas. So Daryl, he says, I'm surprised that you couldn't tell. She's not a real lesbian. Real lesbians don't look like that. Real lesbians are pretty and sexy. He's saying verbatim. He's saying this to me, and more or less he's saying what he sees like on Pornhub is that he thinks that's the real the lipstick lesbians, the women that are getting paid to do this stuff that aren't actually, this isn't their lifestyle. He thinks they're the real ones, and that women like Brittany Griner is not. For the YouTube algorithms, I'm just repeating something I don't agree with. Somebody I interviewed yesterday. This is not stuff I agree with. I'm just pointing out some fallacies. Okay, so he went on to say that yeah, she's a guy. That's why Russia's holding her, because she was trying to infiltrate women's sports in Russia. Now, I don't know if he got this from I don't watch Newsmax. I don't know if he got this from Newsmax or what, or the internet, or where he got it. I didn't ask him. He said that she's a far-left Antifa BLMer. Verbatim. And that's why Russia's, he didn't, I mentioned the little vape thing, and I just got a blank look from him. And that's why Russia's holding, because she's trying to corrupt Russia's sports, women's sports, like what's happening here. So Russia is the hero in all this to him. Let me see what else. So yeah, so he said, she's not like a real lesbian. To him, real lesbians are what he sees on these adult videos. And the more I thought about that, I started thinking about that, and I was going to do a video about the psychology of that, because I've heard other Trumpers talk about this before, about how how that real women in the LGBTQ community aren't the right kind or the good kind of lesbians, that they prefer the ones they see on these adult videos. I've heard this before. That's why it caught my attention. And I was going to do a video on the psychology of that, because I started looking it up. Why and it's pretty obvious, why a man would want to see two women as opposed to, say, anything else. There's a huge variety of different fetishes out there and everything, but let's just say two women as opposed to a guy and a woman, or just a girl alone, or three people, or whatever. And the psychology was because most of the articles said it was about insecurity, and of course they don't want to see themselves compared size-wise to a man on the screen or in magazines or anything like that. So they prefer, it's safer. It's a safe place for the Trumpers and the right-wingers. It's a safe porn space for the guys that don't want to feel belittled. I was going to talk more about, let me see what I got on time. I'll do this real quick. So I was going to talk a little more about that, but then I remembered back when I first, I lived out in the woods at the park, I used to find, I was about 11 years old, and I'd find adult magazines. And back then, I used to prefer, I was just a kid, but I used to prefer, I didn't like seeing the guy-girl ones, because hairy butts and stuff like that, and I preferred the two girls. And I started thinking about that, so I was like, would that be right of me to make a video putting down the right-wingers and the Trumpers for liking this girl stuff when I used to like it myself? But I thought about that. And nowadays, that's not what I prefer. I don't usually watch that stuff because of the trigger that it is with my addiction. But when I did, when I thought about it, I had switched. I kind of switched from the girl to just the girl or the guy-girl thing, because I would empathize. I thought about why, and now I thought about it, and I don't even notice the guy. When I see a guy-girl scene, I look at the woman, and I see her pleasure, and I picture myself being in the guy's place. And I thought about that, how I look at this so much differently than I did when I was young and inexperienced and probably insecure and not quite in pre-puberty yet, kind of short and small. And that's probably why I preferred the girl stuff. But hey, I'm not a psychologist. I just wanted to give you that little insight. Let me know what you guys think. This is real. I wrote this all down. Bob thinks Brittany Griner is a man infiltrating women's sports in Russia. Again, not my way of thinking, not my words. Just somebody I interviewed yesterday for the YouTube algorithms. You guys have a great Wednesday.